Welcome to More Than a Few Words, a marketing conversation for business owners. This is your host, Lorraine Ball. And I don't know about you, but I spend way too much time creating content. And I'm always looking for a faster way to get it done and get back to the real part of my business that actually generates revenue. If you're struggling with those same issues, today's conversation is just for you. And to have that conversation, I've invited Aaron Witnish to join me. He is the co founder of contentonly.au, which specializes in an extraction system that creates 30 days of content in 90 minutes for personal brands. I really want to dive into this topic. So, Aaron, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Lorraine. I'm really excited to share it with you.
I am so excited to talk about this because it is true that you have to have content. It feels like you have to have more content than ever before. But I got a business to run. So you intrigued me because you've got this 3-step process. Let's take my viewers or my listeners through that. Tell me, where do I start?
I think the first challenge is what content do you create? And for business owners, you want to create relevant content for your audience that's going to get their attention, build authority. And so the first step in the 3-step system is research. And it's as simple as going to a platform like Google. And if you type in, let's say you're a mortgage broker, as an example, and you type in home loans, if you scroll down the page a little bit, there's a people also ask section. So you can actually find the questions that your audience are typing into Google and get a list of content ideas in 10 seconds that add value to your marketplace. So that's step one in the process.
I love that. And I do teach that exercise. I even tell my web clients, once you get the question, go to your website and type it into the search and see if you answer it.
Yeah,
They
it's
never
that.
do.
Yeah, it's that simple. Like, and I've used to have the same problem sitting there stuck going, what do I post? What can I talk about today? But there's no excuses anymore because everything's at your fingertips, only a few keystrokes away now.
Okay, so I've got this list of commonly asked questions. I've got some great topics, but now I got to create content to go with it. How do I do that and not spend 30 days doing it?
So step two is record. And what I found was over many, many years in the agency space, if you put someone on camera and try to get them to do content, they feel very unnatural and very awkward. So one day I was talking to one of my clients who's a bricklayer down here in Australia, and we were just having a conversation. And it occurred to me, Mark is his name, is really good at talking. But if I put him in front of a camera, I think he would have a really hard time. So I said, Mark, just play along with me. I'm just going to ask you questions and I'm going to hit record while we're here online. So I went through this list of questions and just asked away, hit mute, let him talk. And by the end of that process, we had a 20-minute conversation and I gave it to the editor on my team and said, can you just cut all the clips that we can use on social media? And then we got about 12 clips back from that 20-minute conversation. We put the branding and captions on. And so we had the short form videos ready to go. Then we just took that conversation to rev.com, got it transcribed into text, and then we just repurposed the text into written posts. So a impromptu conversation with a bricklayer found the shortcut for creating 30 days of content in 20 minutes in that case. So
Oh my gosh, that is so brilliant, and it's so much easier to do that now with a lot of the tools that are available because you used to have to do exactly what you did. Have somebody transcribe it, have someone go through and painstakingly edit all of those clips. But with AI, you don't have to work that hard.
yeah, if you head to a tool like Opus Clip or Opus.pro and you give it that 20-minute video, it'll cut the clips for you and you just need to edit the captions or change the branding accordingly. So by just been willing to show up and do the first part, which is have the conversation and get the questions, use AI, and you've got a hybrid model where you've got original content while everyone else is using Chat GPT and putting out duplicates. And it's still the words that have come out of your mouth. So you're using AI for efficiency and improving quality and turnaround, but still keeping it original, which is going to keep you separate from all the other voices and all the other people screaming in the newsfeed.
Absolutely. And there is something so compelling about someone when they are genuinely talking about something they're excited about, that you have to just sort of stop and watch it, because their enthusiasm really does come through.
Yeah, when someone's having a conversation, it's their natural style. So they'll use the afflictions, they'll use the body language, they'll use the tones. But if they're looking down a camera and getting asked questions and saying action, you'll get a completely different product in terms of the content. So this keeps it really authentic and brings out the personality of the brand or the business by using the conversational style. So you forget that you're being recorded, and it's just like having a chat like we are right now. And by the end of the process, you've got this recording that's ready to get repurposed into your content.
Absolutely. Okay, so start with questions on Google. Ask or have someone ask you the question so you can record the answer and then turn that into content. Once you're up and running and you're doing that for a few months, are there other tips, other enhancements that can kind of take your content up another notch?
I would say what we're doing right now is a really leverage way to create long form content. So if you can get on podcasts that have an audience that are in your industry, and you've got an amazing host that's built the audience, they edit it for you. All you have to do again is show up and have a conversation and add value, and they'll promote that podcast to their audience. So you get to infiltrate all the work that they've done. You can reshare that with your audience. So you get to create long form content for your audience without having to put in all the production and editing side. So that's a really useful tip. If you've got your short form content from the 30 days in 90 minutes model, to create long form content where your audience can go deeper and build a relationship at a much higher level with you.
That is a great suggestion. I've always kind of worked the other way, where I used to do 30-minute webinars. I don't do them as much anymore because I don't think people want to sit still for a 30-minute webinar. But I'll take those 30-minute classes and slice and dice them and break them into much more manageable bits. And I love the idea of building your brand on other people's platforms. I think that works really well, especially if you are a collaborative guest. Would you
That's
agree?
It's a win-win for both parties. If you're starting to build an audience, you get to introduce their podcast to the people that you have a relationship with, and vice versa, plus add value to their audience. And I think collaboration's fun when you get to show up and have great conversations. I can't think of a better way to do business, create content. And when you have fun, it tends to rub off on the listeners and the audience, and it impacts your business in a real positive way.
Absolutely. And I just think life is too short to be doing things that aren't at least a little bit fun.
Definitely. And when you combine what you want to be doing, so I guess there's an element of purpose in there, and you're having fun, the work is effortless. So you probably work harder, you work better without feeling like you're putting in all this effort. And the product that you produce at the end of the day has a much bigger impact with the people that stumble across it.
Awesome. Anything else from a production standpoint that I should think should I that I should keep in mind if I am going to do these kind of videos, if I'm going to ask other people questions, or if I'm just going to turn the camera on and ask myself the questions? Anything that I should keep in mind?
So what we've found is if you record on an iPhone, so we use Google Meet because it saves the recording in the cloud, so it's easy to
Mhm.
repurpose. You can send that off to get cut into clips. You can get it transcribed effortlessly. And if you want to get high quality video footage, if you show up on a smart device when you're having the conversation, and if you do it in portrait mode, you'll get the best quality video, and it's ready to cut. So you'll be in the perfect frame for your videos, And when the other person is asking you the questions, it's very important that they mute while you're talking, just in case any background interference puts the camera onto them, and always have the setting in spotlight mode. So it's not a split screen when you're going through this process. So there's a couple of production tips that'll help get the highest quality video product that you can repurpose and use for your content.
Awesome. Aaron, this has been fabulous. Thank you so much for being a part of the show.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I'm going to encourage anyone, if you are curious about this process, about how you can create 30 days worth of content in 90 minutes, there'll be a link to contentonly.au. Aaron, thanks again for being a part of the show.
Thanks, Lorraine.
And if you've enjoyed this conversation, listen to another one. They're short. Look for MTFW wherever you listen to podcasts. This has been another episode of More Than a Few Words. Thanks for listening.